Hello everybody, Kenny Sams here. Welcome to, I'm going to call this section of my website Greatest Clips, Greatest Films, Greatest Movies. I'll call it Greatest VidCap section. This is GreatestDrummerEver.com's Greatest VidCap section. Welcome. I'm thinking instead of waiting to be picked up by a network or an agent or something like that, I'll just make my own films, put them on here, and that way you guys can come to my website and see what I've been up to. This vidcap's going to be pretty long. It's my first ever that I've really put on my website, and I was thinking about in this vidcap covering stuff like, what I've been up to, the projects I've been into, and improvise a lot of it, well, most of it actually, and pretty much do a lot of it without a script. So today's date is 6/27/2014, and it is currently 8:53 p.m. on Friday here in Washington State. I think the first thing I'm going to start off with is my reality TV show that I came up with in early 2008. In 2008, I came up with a reality TV show, and I was at my computer. I'm big into computers. Right now I'm on my Alienware, and it's a laptop. I got a little 14-inch here, and I love Alienware. Alienware rules. I like their look and stuff. But so in 2008, I'm on my computer and I'm playing a video game called Project IGI. I think it was Project IGI 2, and it's about an operative who infiltrates bases and stuff, goes in, shoots villains and bad guys and stuff, and does different tasks and stuff. Is really interesting. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, well, that'd make a good TV show. I was like, why not make a reality show out of that? So I was like, well, I'll forget about it, and if I remember it, I'll write it down later. And I started thinking, I don't want to get up, get some paper and stuff, and write this stuff down. So I was like, well, I better just jot some notes down, so I don't forget about it. So I jot down the notes, and I'm sitting there, I'm playing IGI some more and stuff, and I'm like, wow, I've been getting into this, thinking about stuff, watching TV shows and visualizing and getting ideas from it. So I was like, well, why don't I see what I can pick up, from some movies? So I put a movie on. I'm like, well, yeah, this is starting to make sense. Started feeling really good. So I'm getting ideas, and I'm like taking ideas from the movies and visualizing. I started doing that over the years. So like later on that year, I'm thinking, well, I'm going to get in this, pursue it. So I start calling people and getting into it, and I come across a production company, and I'm like, well, they were into it. They immediately picked it up and said, they were going to do, a bunch of work on it, and they told me that the networks, some networks were into it, and they and stuff like that. So I was like, well, wow, I'm gonna keep pursuing this. So I worked with them for about 3 years, up to the present right now, and I got into a book. I was gonna start. They asked me if I wanted to write a book, and then they'd make a movie about my life, based on the book and stuff. So I did that, and I don't know. It's been like 4 months since I handed them my book, and I haven't heard a single word from them. So I don't know if they're a fly by night, a bunch of phonies from Nigeria or something, but that's BSI Productions in Los Angeles, though, who I've been working with. So anyways, here's a little gist of a little nugget from my reality show that I've wrote up here. I'm going to read it off what I've wrote here, and so kick back and check this little section out. This sound clip has been brought to you by GreatestDrummerEver.com. Support for free. For free. Supporting teenagers daily. Help a kid by supporting for free. Visit GreatestDrummerEver.com today. Notice: some of the notes read in this sound clip have been copyrighted and registered with the Writers Guild of America. Yes, I copyrighted the first version of my show, which was, copyrighted and registered with the Writers Guild of America, and then I upgraded the ton of stuff and kind of changed the format of my show around a bit and copyrighted all that too. So most of this, if not all of it, has been copyrighted. This is just me going over my notes, and what I've copyrighted and stuff and rewriting it, so stuff like that. But most of these notes, yeah, they've been registered with Rise Guild America. On to my reality show. Introducing COFW. COFW, otherwise known as Covert Ops Free World. Kick back, relax, and I'll discuss COFW. Okay, chapter 1 of my notes, COFW Online. Blood Moon. Blood Moon can be the theme for, we'll say, week 1's online episode. COFW will have a website where one can subscribe and watch all the action. A subscription would cost something like $20. Only the current week that is being aired on TV would be available to watch, meaning if week 3 is airing on a major cable channel, then one could only watch up to just past week 3's episode. That way one could not supersede week 4's episode by watching it online. COFW would take exactly 30 days to film. COFW would be filmed constantly, non-stop for 30 days. I was wanting to film the entire first season of COFW somewhere around the San Juan Islands, Mount Baker, here in Washington State. Being there are like 420 islands in the San Juans at high tide, I thought that would add to the uniqueness of the show, so I could have other islands that could be traveled to, which would be integrated in the COFW. The COFW website would have maybe a grid of scenes that could be chosen at will. In doing so, one could choose their own scenes to watch whenever they want. One could sit and do their own investigation. Let's say that 1 week airs on a major cable channel on June 1st. On June 1st, that airing would cover 7 days worth of film, so the people online would be able to watch up to a week and a half of season 1 starting June 1st. This way, paying customers online would be able to enter contests and stuff. Contests online could include prizes for solving mysteries pertaining to the following week's airing. Prizes could include free soda from a sponsoring soda company. Maybe I could put the names of the week's grand prize winner up in lights during that week's airing on TV. Maybe I can put their name in one of the TV sets I'm watching during the shoot. I could splice it in editing and then add it into the show. Maybe in the next episode I could have their name spoken on a radio or something in the background on that episode. Maybe a guaranteed 5-second spot for that week's winner. Maybe I'll paint their name on a skateboard ramp in the show via the editing booth and air it. And possibly 10 grand prize winners could be chosen to be on season 2 show. One could get free weekly access to the show by buying a sponsoring soda manufacturer's product. Maybe I could get a soda manufacturer to put winning numbers under their caps, which could be entered on the COFW website for free access and other prizes. Being there will be like 1,000 cameras on set, all recording 24/7 for 30 days straight, there will be an astronomical amount of footage one could watch online. Most of these cameras, if not all of them, would be able to be monitored for possibly as long as one wants. So if one could sit and watch one camera as long as they want, one could sit at one location and watch the whole week and a half's worth of film from that one location. So one is not limited to just the TV version of the show, although the TV version would be maybe 2 to 3 hours long each week. The website would be a much more interesting option. So I'm thinking, okay, we got 30 days and we got a ton of people, like 500 people, participating in this show. And we have, people who are for charities, they're fighting for charities. There's people who are, just actors spicing up the set. They play in the show, but they're also professional actors. A few known celebrities. Me, of course, I would be the big time kingpin. I'd be in a villa somewhere within the vicinity, within the 100 square miles or whatever, up by Mount Baker, I was thinking Baker Lake and Cypress Island. So it'd be just a big. It's a really big show, and it's all live, real time, and you go online, and a lot of people aren't into online, so they just watch it on like HBO maybe or Showtime. They could watch it there maybe. So it would be like a 3 hour show each week with you know I was thinking TV, but the bad thing about TV is you got to get a 3 hour, 2 or 3 hour spot on like NBC or ABC or something or whatever, and then you got commercials, every 10 minutes, 8 minutes, that are like 3 minutes long. It's like no one wants to pay attention to that stuff. If you're gonna watch COFW, you're gonna want to sit down and really, get into this because it's really intense. So I was thinking, why not go to HBO or Showtime, and that way, every 45 minutes there could be like a nine, like is in the 9 millimeter, a 9 minute interlude every 45 minutes or something, where, they could put one advertiser, like saying, it'd say intermission, then have a countdown timer in the bottom right, that start counting down to when it's going to continue, and then it could just say, there wouldn't be words or anything, it wouldn't be all distracting, like at the movies, there'd be an intermission or something. You go get popcorn or whatever, use the restroom or whatever you gotta do, and go out for a smoke break or something. I don't know. So there'd be that countdown. Then you could just say, like Coca-Cola or something. Not a bunch of words and stuff distracting. And then when it hits zero, gunshot would go off, and then just start playing again. So I thought, HBO or Showtime would be it. That'd be great. And then the internet, you could always pay $20, get online, pick whatever camera. I mean, 1,000 cameras, because the show is all reality. It would encompass just many reality show aspects. Being, Big Brother's like, they got the house and people just sit there and they sit in the house and they follow them. Well, this would be 30 days straight. So if we got these houses, villas, a police precinct, hospital, stores, Ride the Clouds gun shop, whatever, taxis, everything, ATVs, just cameras everywhere on the people, on the cars, in the houses, in the woods, everything. It just everywhere, so you can get online. You'd be like, well, I want to compete for these prizes online, maybe get on the show, so I'm going to sit at this camera right here and watch and see if this situation is going to occur at this spot. So that way, people could, like casino or whatever, but you'd be like, I think it's gonna be right here. So 1,000 camera, you could sit anywhere and watch it, and if you subscribe, you couldn't jump ahead of the TV, what's gonna be airing on TV, but maybe jump ahead a little bit because you have privileges by buying the online version. But it's like, well, people could, they can go online, you could just sit, they'd be like, what, you got a small house like what I'm living in, there could be, 15 cameras in that house alone, except for the restrooms and stuff, or the bedroom. But it's, you could say, I want to sit on camera over here and just look out the window and see what could happen. So what is COFW? COFW is a shooter, just like, Project IGI or Quake 3 Arena, stuff like that, so a real-time shooter. COFW also has many other elements within it, like elements like espionage, kidnapping, gambling, hijacking, bribery, fighting, money, love, sex, comedy, real sex, just not on film, thievery, barter, trading, gun running, drugs, and killing. COF needs to have an element of other known celebrities in it. Celebrities acting as any element I can come up with. It could be a bartender, streetwalker, mercenary. There's gonna be mercenaries in the show, that can be hired. Each person on the show gets to go on the show with like $5,000 in their pocket. We wouldn't use real money because we wouldn't want to fight like breaking out or something. But we use simulated money, with special design, where the little George Washington, whatever's on the doll, we put a little CW sign on there, or CO. Covert ops, make the money look really cool. Then at the end of the show, whatever money you got on you, you could trade in, for real cash. So what I have done with my reality show idea, COFW is created a massive living reality show. I envision COFW to be a mega hit to supersede all reality shows. COFW should be a major entity in entertainment for a long time to come. So you can envision something like, envision a large island, we'll say 25 square miles, but maybe up to 100 square miles. This island has a town located on an edge of the water. This town has many small homes on it. These homes are occupied by various types of people who are on the show. These people could be actors who have a specific role on the show. There will be police on the show who protect the town, free agents, contestants on the show, celebrities, and whoever I deem to be there on set. A good example would be go buy Far Cry 3, the video game, or the upcoming Far Cry 4, and you can kind of like see how it resembles that too. Then there is the other 24 square miles of the island, or 100 square miles, or whatever. My role again is to be the king overlord. I always have my own villa on each set. I also possess the most cash on the whole set. Real money. Any money on set can be traded for money after the show. So if each person's starting out with $5,000, and you're part of, you're not a mercenary, or you're not a drug runner, or you're not a competing bad guy in a villa. I was thinking we get Steven Seagal as a bad guy in another villa. So it'd be like, well, if you're in the town, part of the town, you're sitting there, you're like, well, let's go gamble. So you're gambling with your friends, throwing a party, and on night 4 or something, you'd be like, well, okay, I got $5,000 to last throughout the show and 30 days straight, and then you're like, let's go have a party, play some poker. So you're playing poker, and you're gambling with your money, your real money. And then let's say, a guy gets jealous or something, and he's in the town, part of the town. He comes over, pulls out his 9 and shoots you. Gunfight could break out. People in town are supposed to be the good people, but something like that, you never know. It's unscripted. So, and then the cops, they could show up. That person who did the shooting, he could run to the outlands, take his chances out in the other area, or he could if he gets caught, he goes to jail. He doesn't go to real jail, but he gets, escorted off the set. And when you're escorted off the set, you have to do time. You could be off the set for 15 days, out of money, out of everything, out of fame or whatnot. You can get kicked off for good for like murder or something in town. So I'm thinking, anything could happen. A person from in town could be sitting in his home thinking, where I'm on this reality show, and me, Kenny, I got a villa out there. No one knows where I'm at. They'd have to go take their chances on the roads finding it or walking through miles and miles of woods. But it's like, well, I'm up in my villa, and, this guy's thinking, well, Kenny's got, $10 million in his villa. Why don't I go and try to, break into his villa and steal it? It's all being recorded. He's got like 10 cameras on him, little mini ones, all kinds of cameras and stuff. So he wants to go over to the rental place and rent an ATV, pay some cash, he can go out and try to find me, but me, I'm total badass on the show. You try to break into my villa, one of my henchmen's gonna, pick you off from a distance with a high-powered sniper rifle, and then go over there and take all the money you had on you, and then you get, escorted off the show. And if you're lucky, you could be, depending on how you acted on the show, if you didn't try to mess up scenes or get a big attitude and make a scene where it had to be edited afterwards and reenacted, verbatim for what you did on the show, except for your acting up part, if it's kind of a thing, a whole system, where if you're good on the show and do a good job, don't make scenes, 250 people who were on the first season would be able to go on to the second season. So each season we'd have 250 new people coming on. So there's more incentive, to get to be good and act good, and it's a big thing. So it's, the same thing. We got grenades, sniper rifles, machine guns, pistols, Uzis. If you're lucky, you could probably hunt someone down way out in the outlands if you ever get word of them, and you could get poison or whatever, all kinds of stuff. So it's real big, all kinds of stuff. There's I'd be the king overlord. I also possess a lot of cash. Okay, now here's here's the other part. Enter the ops. Now, COFW, Covert Ops Free World. Who are the ops? The ops are 3 groups of 10 operatives. In the beginning, the 3 teams of ops are at different locations around the world, the real world. Every season begins with these 3 teams of ops competing to locate the set's location. So they don't know where that location is. So we could have people from Ukraine or something, a team in Ukraine who would want to come over and be on the show, or in uh, Africa. There'd be people in Africa who could want to come over. So we assemble a team over there, and they'd have, it's like competition over there. They're like, we gotta find this place, and they'd have to get intel, to be able to even locate where the set is. They say, okay, it's day one. Kenny's out there, and he's gonna start taking out these people in these towns. I'm a big henchman. I'm the king overlord. I'll just go out there. I'll send one of my henchmen out there, and he'll try to get into the town, which I might not be able to do because there's so many police officers roaming the town. I don't want to get packed up, or whatever. So I don't know if I'd ever go into the town, but anything's possible. I got good intel, so on the show I could have good intel and go into the town, start taking out these mofos. So the ops job is to try to get me eliminated before too much chaos ensues. So teams in we ops in Japan, Africa, and in the States. So before a team of ops gets okay to track my general location, they would first need to be okayed by the United Council to do so. So let's say that one way for a team to get the okay to make the trek to my location would be if their country or participating countries had donated enough votes to their website. So you can work this all kinds of ways. It's like another set of reality games or something. Like these websites would count these votes. These votes would only be submitted once a statement was read or something. It'd be some kind of catch. So that way all these votes who come in, they're not just calling in for votes. They have to read something real quick, a little quick quote. Like uh, you know spread the word about Invega Sustenna, which eliminates symptoms of schizophrenia, or something, some charitable cause or something, could work for that situation. And the winning team from that country, if they get the most votes within, a week or something, then they'd be like, okay, we got intel, that's saying Kenny's over at this location, and the person working intel, who I wanted to do all intel for the show, would be Jonathan Fatality Wendell, the reigning video game champ. So I thought he'd be perfect, to work all intel for the show, for as long as he wants. He could be on every season. So it's like that'd be awesome. For me, who I am, I just picked him. He's been my choice for like 5 years now. So on the island there will be mercenaries. Mercenaries get paid for their assistance. Mercenaries would need to be hunted down. Being there are other contestants on the set who will be acting alone and trying to make cash, they could hunt down a mercenary and utilize their service. So along with other contestants, there could be, free agent contestants who are there to earn money for the charity they represent. So, they could be there to earn money for the cure for cancer, or to support children's charities, or whatever. So and they can get eliminated too, to try to come earn $10 million for your charity, and I might have to take you out too. So mercenaries, I thought a good pick for a mercenary. If you've ever seen the movie Christine, it was back in like 1980s. I think Stephen King wrote a book called Christine and made a movie about it. But there's a guy who plays a punk in the beginning of the show, and he has kind of long hair, and he's a bigger guy. He's the guy with the knife, and he's like cutting up. I forgot the guy's name, the star of the show, but he's like, I think his name was Ernie, but he's cutting up his lunch food, and the yogurt comes dripping out and stuff, and he's picking on Ernie. But I thought he'd make a great mercenary. He's probably really old now, but I thought he'd be great to be a wise mercenary. I was gonna call him Big Bear or something, some mercenary. My show's aimed at like people age like, I was gonna say like 12 and older. So I didn't want to go too hard in the gore and cussing and stuff like that. I was thinking if I was gonna cuss, it'd be beeped out, but not the standard beep beep beep. It'd be a cool one like brrr, little machine gun sound or something like brrr, 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 brrr. Ah, brrr, kill that brrr, something like that. Just something original. But so there'd be mercenaries. There are other kingpins on the show. These kingpins also have their own villas with cash in them. Kingpins run guns, sell dope, control others, and have connections to things that are not readily available to others on the show. Paying a visit to a kingpin can be a lucrative option if it don't get you killed. Not only can you get killed on the show, but all of your current winnings could be pillaged, thus becoming the property of whoever takes it from your dead corpse. There will be like 500 people on the show. All these people will have something to do. Maybe each person on the show can start with $5,000, maybe a little less, maybe a little more. Different people can have a little bit more. I don't know. This money can be deposited in the town bank or kept on oneself. The town bank also controls the bank cards each person in town carries. Carrying cash outside of town can be risky. One can be shot and their cash taken. The island will have its own telephone system. There will be no phone books, so getting someone's number will be up to each contestant. There will be phone booths in places too. Maybe cell phones could be sold for an expensive price. These cell phones would only reach places on the island or the area we're using. There would be taxis on the island. These taxis would be H1 Hummers. I was thinking of calling that taxi service on the island Golden Tire Taxi Service. These taxis would only travel up to 20 miles an hour. This way the chance of getting run over in the heat of battle would be less. And these taxis would be driven by authorized drivers only, and each taxi charges real money. So we got taxis, in town, and that could take you around the area, and they're driven by the most skilled of drivers, because if you just made out with $3 million from a other kingpin's villa and you're in a hurry and some guys are chasing you with machine guns and you could lose $3 million real dollars, we don't need that guy jumping in the car and doing 80 down a dirt road and going through the windshield by wrapping himself around a tree. So the best drivers, they can only do 20 because they're boning out, they don't want to run someone over. There may also be ATVs and motorcycles on the island. These could be rented. ATVs and motorcycles also have a top speed of 20 miles an hour. And if not returned on time, there are big charges. Even more charges to retrieve them if you are taken prisoner. So yes, you can be taken prisoner, ransoms, all kinds of stuff. COFW is a complete free world where lots of money can be made by any means possible. Okay, now on to the technology used in COFW. The weapons used in COFW are movie prop guns that fire blanks and emit a sound frequency. And sound frequency, I don't mean like guns from the 80s going pew pew pew. I'm talking real guns with like the pins removed from them that fire in a certain way. They fire real blanks, but they also fire a sound frequency. I was looking on the internet. At first I was going with lasers, but I'm like, well, what if you're in the bushes or something? You want to fire through bushes, So there was a new technology that ran off sound waves where, these weapons, the lasers went up to like, I think it was 1,000 feet, if not more, maybe like 1,300 feet. So we could have sniper rifles and stuff. But now they have sound, so now you could, shoot through walls possibly. And they had near miss technology, so if a bullet flew past you, it could sense it, and being each person on the island, who's participating could have one in-ear, earpiece or something that would pop, because the sonic as it passed by you would snap, be like snapping past you, breaking the sound barrier or whatever. So, near miss technology, firing real cartridge blanks, so you'd be like, it wouldn't be the standard overdub stuff. It'd be like cameras, microphones everywhere on the people, all kinds of stuff. So you pull out a 6-shooter or something, you're gonna be like pop pop pop, 9, 357, deuce deuce, whatever. It's gonna be authentic, all the way up to the 50 cal sniper rifles, AKs, 223s. Grenades, all ran off sound. And then at the end of the show, whatever we deemed we felt like, we could go back and edit it and put in the fireball explosion and some destruction, reenact certain scenes, all based on, what happened in the show. Try to keep the show as authentic as possible to what was filmed, but, we could add fireballs, which we couldn't add while filming. Um, the frequency of these weapons, the frequency the weapons emit would be picked up by the receiver on an opponent, which would tell them they had been shot. So anyone who has a weapon on set would also have to possess ammo. No, there'd be no 30 rounds from a revolver in COFW. I mean, you got to carry your own weight if you're gonna go break into a compound. Be prepared to bring your own wire cutters, bolt cutters, hacksaws, you know binoculars, whatever, and make the trek up there. And if you find a little outpost and you want to go see if it's got 30 grand in it, bring your own ammo, get there yourself, whatever, assemble a team, hire a mercenary, stuff like that. And intel, might be able to tell somebody, that someone's, heading this direction. Patrols, radios. It's not going to be old school. It's going to be all new technology and stuff, new weapons, mini map radars, whatever. Limited amounts of it. You might have to find. Some people in town might not be able to find stuff. I might not be able to find stuff. I don't know. It's really big, but all the weapons would have different effective ranges too. You couldn't pull out just because it's laser technology. You can still dial down, or sound technology. You can still dial down the ranges and stuff like that. So 357 wouldn't be as accurate as a sniper rifle. The technology used in the sensors have near-miss technology. I went over that. Each person on set would have the ability to be told when they had been fatally shot via their miniature in-ear monitor, so they would know when to fall down and play dead. Each person would have a stencil pack or packs on them that would explode with blood when shot. I was thinking of also having like these Velcro strap-on things that one could put, around their belly, under their shirt, or around their upper thighs if they're wearing shorts, or on their legs. That would be ran by either battery power or CO2 power. That could it would start slapping them like a little rubber band slapping on your skin, but not as hard. A little mechanism that could be custom made in Hollywood or something, where they could put it on so when they get shot, if they couldn't hear it, if it's a heat of battle, they'll feel it start slapping them, be like, I've been shot in my arm, and the in-ear monitor would say, you've been shot, relax your arm or something, or just little cue messages that would just start going off, in that person's ear and just keep going off. So you get shot once. Let's say it hits you right here in the hip or something, and you're not dead yet. It's say you're not dead yet. Lay down. You're wounded. You're critically wounded. Just lay there. You're not dead yet. So you can be yelling, whatever, and then it could say you're bleeding out. So you're laying there, and half a minute later it's saying, okay, you're about to die, and then you're dead. The stencils and stuff, they'd explode, or they can be added in the effects booth, so they wouldn't have to carry all this equipment with them. So, but a really good job in the editing bay. So when someone gets shot in the arm, it would show it on the scene from the first filming, of the initial filming. But afterwards, we could add, body limbs flying off, or whatever, people getting cut in half. No, I'm playing. It wouldn't be that gruesome, but it wouldn't be a wussed out show, but it wouldn't be too gross. So the slappers would be velcroed to them, be ran by rechargeable batteries, and they slap you a good one, so you really feel it. The sniper rifles used can have cameras in the scopes that can be utilized in the edit bay after filming. Each person on set can have cameras of various sizes anywhere on them, from larger cameras to very small micro cameras. Anyone on set can be wearing one. The cameras will be in the houses, in the woods, hilltops, lakes, in the boats, on the ATVs, in the taxis. Little cheap cameras, all sent to a central unit. If it was in the car, it could be sent there. It could be sent wirelessly. So sent to a central unit. That central unit could be monitored and sent to the hub, or whatever, where there'd be, 100 people monitoring all these cameras that would be monitoring every person on set. So these people can be monitoring each section. The whole 100 square miles can be broken down into, 1 square mile areas, and then they could be broken down into, 10 sections, and person can be watching each one of those sections or whatever. It's a really big thing. I went all out. I was thinking this should be the end all be all to, top and, movie. Because for me, TV and movies died in 1988. After 1988, music, radio, everything just, I don't know how, just growing up, I just faded away from it, did my own thing, pursued drumming, music, and everything, and focused on my own music that I'd listened to. And, I just came up with this show, not trying to challenge and beat other shows, but I just naturally did it and came up with COFW. So cameras in the scopes of the sniper rifles, cool camera angles, not your standard stuff, but under eaves of houses and in the trees and different parts of the car, not the standard parts. And the bombs and grenades on set are ran by sound too. So let's say someone throws a grenade into a party at a villa. When it goes off, it would sound a very loud siren. The siren would start on a high note and descend in tone. It would only sound for about 3 to 4 seconds, being that it was a grenade that damaged the radius. Being that it was a grenade that the damage radius would only be effective for, let's say, 20 feet in circumference. Now, if a large explosive were set off, the damage would be much more substantial. Anyone within 50 to 70 feet could be killed via a large explosion. So these things go off. They throw a grenade. It goes like that. But of course, as soon as it went off and the sound started descending, it's emit a frequency that would be picked up by the receiver pack that each person on set would be wearing. And if they were in range, they could be severely injured, killed, or whatever. And have to act accordingly once it went off. So when it goes off, let's say a bunch of people get injured. Well, there'd be a hospital on the island, maybe a neutral hospital, one in town. Neutral hospital would be somewhere in the outlands where, if you're in the outlands, you can go there if you can make it there. You'd be well protected, but, you get to the hospital, you get fixed up, maybe you have to sit in the hospital for 10 days and miss out on all that money, but you could still make it back to the show. So, that's another realistic aspect of the show. So the grenades go off, people get killed that way. After, in the editing bay, we could, throw in the explosion or whatever and make it more realistic if we needed to. The explosions, there would be poles located everywhere on set. These poles have explosive charges on top of them. I went to a Britney Spears concert about 14 years ago, and I'm sitting up above the stage behind it, and toward the end of the show, it's the finale, and these explosions start going off. And I'm looking around going, that can't be the sound system because that's real loud. And I'm looking around, and I see where these explosions were coming from. It looked like there was these barrels that were like expanded metal. And I was like, well, somehow they had rechargeable explosive unit up in there or something, a rechargeable explosive unit. And they were loud, and they were going off in my ear. I was like, wow, man, that's really loud, but it was cool. And I was like, well, if they have that technology and it wasn't emitting big flames or anything, I was like, well, why couldn't we get a bunch of poles, put them throughout the island that are, pick up the signal sent from the grenades or explosives. So if a firefight happens out in the outlands and someone throws a grenade, there'd be these different sized rechargeable explosions up on these poles that were like 100 feet in the air or 50 feet in the air or whatever. And there'd be, tons of them all over the place, and so when someone throws a grenade, not only would it kill people, but if you're in a villa, 3 miles away, and you're sitting there and you're just, a bad guy eating some, pasta or something, and suddenly I hear a bomb go off a mile away, I'm going to hear, a faint bomb explosion. I'll be like, wow, there's some action going over there, and I could act accordingly. So instead of everything being silent, with just guns going off, you could have, bombs going off too. And these explosives could be on houses everywhere, wherever, it'd be all over the place. So that's another realistic element that could be added into the show. These explosives would be loud but lack the flamage of normal explosions. These poles could be spread out about, every 500 feet apart from each other and cover the whole set. These poles could be 100 feet tall. They would have several different size explosions at the top of the poles. These explosives at the top of the pole explode in conjunction with the corresponding nearby grenade that went off. So that's the explosive element. The knives on the set would be ran by sensors too. So if an op snuck up on a bad guy, he could stab him in the back with one. These knives don't have blades on them. These knife blades would be added in the edit bay. So you could take it frame by frame or whatever, and let's say this is what we had before. Now we got the whole knife here, so you can add that and the blood and stuff. So the blades would be added in the edit bay. There would be a sensor on the blade end of the knife. When a person was stabbed in the body with the end of the knife, the sensor, so you could get hurt or killed. The sensor would have a trigger on the opposing person for it. The sensor would have to trigger on the opposing person for it to be a confirmed. Oh, I'm back. I had a technical error there for a sec. I don't know what that was. It just shut off and said it couldn't record for that program or something. The knives, they'd have a sensor on the back. So if one picks it up, it could say, okay, this person just picked up this knife. And then when it walks up to another person, the person close to it, that sensor on that person will be picking up this knife too. And if he goes up and hits the person, once this is triggered on that person, it'd be able to sense that, and it'd be able to tell, that person, well, you need to fall down because you're dead. The sensors would have triggers. The knives could be thrown. You could come up on someone and do a Steven Seagal or something, hit a guy in the neck or something. You wouldn't aim for the neck on the show, so you could hit someone in the eye or something, but throw it at his back or something if you're qualified to do such a thing on the show. But you kill a person that way too. So they'd be activated that way. Remote computers would monitor each person on set. These computers would decide who wins a fight if one broke out. So there'd be fist fighting on the show too. It's kind of like it would be kind of like roll the dice in Dungeons and Dragons based on each person who is on the show. We'd run tests and all their abilities and attributes and styles and everything would dictate, who won that fight. So let's say these computers would decide who wins a fight. So instead of actually fighting on set, all one would have to do is something like initiate a fight by hitting an opponent in a way that would trigger the fight. So you could have something, maybe on the back of your hand or right here or something, or you can walk up and say, you could be quiet, walk up and be like, do something that would, trigger a certain sensor or something that would initiate the fight. So that's one way to do it. So instead of actually fighting, you initiate the fight, just like the trigger on the blade end of the knife. One could have a trigger on the back of their hand by their knuckles. Let's say we have an op and he approaches a guard. Let's say this guard has two buddies. The op walks up to the first guard and begins talking to him. Being all people on set have had their whole real life skill sets entered into the remote computer's programs, the op could pop the guard in the chest or something, triggering the sensor and initializing the fight. The op and the guard would then just stand there, and the computer would tell them who lost and when to proceed. So let's say he walks up. Let's say I walk up to Steven Seagal and I'm about to kick his ass. So I walk up to him and he's standing there. I'm like, we're talking, discussing a major drug deal or how I'm gonna do away with some of his guards if he doesn't pay me $100,000. And the fight breaks out. We based on our skill sets. In the roll of the dice, I'd kick his ass. So, but if the show comes out, you can watch, and we'll see who gets beat down. Let's say that let's say that the op only wanted to subdue the guard. We got a couple guards and an op. The op could use his left hand's trigger to initiate the subdued attack. So if the attack works, then the computer would inform each person on the result. So instead of killing the guard in a fight, he just knocks him out cold until the computer decides that he can wake up. So we have that aspect too, So he could be like, well, I'm going to subdue this guy. So he'd be like, this is going to be a subdue. So he's going to do it quietly or whatever. He walks up, gets him in a chokehold, or just walks up to him. If he gets close enough, he could tap him like that or trigger something, and gets him range, he'll be worked off range or something. Then just stand there, because the inner monitor will tell both of them, and to be quiet or whatever. It's a big thing, a real big thing. So there's that aspect that can be worked out, and I'll say that the guards, two of the buddies decide to jump in the fight. All they would have to do is right punch the op or do their thing, whatever system could be worked out. Stand there, and the computer would decide who won the fight between the op and the three guards. And then after filming, we could go back and refilm the fight scenes and edit them in the scenes. We could add explosions and whatnot. So if they're just standing there and we got guys running by, they wouldn't be affected or whatever. Or another guard come in and shoot the op, and then afterwards when we're in the edit bay, have all these editors, and they'd be like, well, this fight went this way, so we'll reenact it on set. So if it took a month to film, there'd probably be another month of reenactments or whatever. And everyone would be reenacting their parts, certain parts, so when we watch the film, everything's still verbatim from what was filmed, but it's just more stuff in it. And the show doesn't look cheesy, it looks cool, crystal clear pictures, best cameras, and no fast jerky motions. It's no hype in the scene with the camera, it'd be all real action and just in real cool looking, like movies. You see like Batman, the previews and stuff. It's like, or love stories or something where everything's real clear and silver and stark of black night and rain, everything real cool, not fuzzed out or special effects. The real deal. Chapter 4, the people on set. I want to use Johnson Fatality Wendell, as I talked about. I want to use Victoria Justice to be the permanent newswoman on set. She would be in charge of all news COFW. She would be responsible for all emails sent out to the public regarding the show, tweets, text messages, video updates, and current on-set news pertaining to COFW. Everything news about COFW I wanted Victoria Justice to do. Victoria Justice can offer clues to the public, which they can use to win prizes on the COFW website. Me, I would be the king overlord in every season on COFW. I'd always have my own villa, and I would always have a massive amounts of cash in my villa. I would also have a lot of drugs and other paraphernalia that could be sold for real cash in COFW. I would be the main focus of the ops. Their main reason for being on set is to locate me and take me out. I also wanted real celebrities to appear on set. I wanted Britney Spears to be in season 1. Of course, she could show up and no one would even know she was going to show up. We got 500 people on set, and all of a sudden, she comes in on a nice boat or whatever, and suddenly she's at the club in town, and the club's playing music, and we got all these new upcoming musicians who could be going on MTV or something, and they're getting their debut on the show, and all the radios and TVs on the show are debuting new stuff too. So if we got someone sitting online watching the show for a month, it's a great way to introduce new talent. In the radios on the show could be playing, new talent and stuff. Not samples are just great way to bring in new talent. So Britney Spears comes on set, and she shows up, and all of a sudden she's renting a room at the hotel on set, or living in the house, and now she could be mixed into the whole mix to help people make money, or make her own money, or go to the strip club with some people, or do whatever, because there'd be a strip club in town or outside of town or whatever. Any way I want to work it. But the first episode I wanted to have made in Washington State, because that's where I live, and that's where I'm from, and that's where I wanted everything to take place on the first episode. Second one, maybe the Bahamas, something, I don't know. So a lot of people could really have sex on the show. I was thinking there could be gay people on the show, straight people. Just can't be filmed, but anything goes legally. That could be legally done in public, but anything. Just one big thing. So I wanted Mary Kate Olsen and Ashley Olsen to appear in season 1 too. Their names wouldn't be Mary Kate Olsen, it'd be Mary Kate Tank and Ashley Tank. I just some celebrity element to be on the show. Not just a bunch of new names, but some celebrity talent. I wanted to go big. Um, Britney Spears' name, I wanted to be Britney Rose, something like that. Um, have other musicians that I'm into be able to add the music to the show. The club on set would have an unknown up and coming stars. So it's really big. We worked many different ways. So big shooter. You can go get the video game Far Cry 3, get some ideas from that, and see what I was thinking of. Just all kinds of ways we work. There wouldn't be really commercials except the 3 or 4 or 5 9-minute breaks, intermissions. But they could advertise. So if the drinks were in the show, they could have their drinks, and they could be set in certain places where they'd always be on camera or stuff like that. And that's how the advertising and sponsors can work that way instead of going the commercials route, because commercials suck. I hate commercials. I don't watch TV, but when I do, I do not like commercials. They sound like garbage too. So that's it for COFW, Covert Ops Free World. So that's just what I wanted to cover for this vidcap from our website, Greatest Vidcap, for greatestdrummerever.com. If you're at my website, obviously you've probably already seen my G-bongs and G-pipe, which I'm working on right now. As soon as they go into production, I'll let you guys know about that. So that's it for today. Tonight it's 9:47 p.m. right now on Friday here in Washington. Today's date is 6/27/2014. Maybe the next time you guys see me dealing with COFW, it'll be on TV, cable, and the internet, and on your cell phones. And then you guys could get in on it and stuff, and possibly get on the episodes and stuff. So, alright, Kenny Sams here. Greatest drummer ever, greatest actor ever, have the highest IQ ever seen, and the best ears in the business. Saying rock on, and peace out. And support for free. Go to my website, greatestdrummerever.com. You see all about the for free movement. So be sure to support for free. Rock on.